political discrimination, I think, is the new equivalent of unfairness in the law that we've seen for racism in maybe decades and centuries past.
Well, I will say this, where I think we're fairly in agreement on. I keep saying my mantra is, let's live in the year we're living in.
Yeah.
Because so many people seem to, on the left, this is a left thing, they seem to want to insist on having our deplorable past permanently stand in for our much improved present, which doesn't mean there isn't work to be done. There certainly are still racists in America and racism. But I feel like we are very often not treating it like, oh, this is 2023 now, and this is where we are. This is the work that has to be done. But let's not be chasing these phantoms of racism that aren't the parts that exist anymore.
Yeah, and I think that we can celebrate that.
Yeah, we should.
I think that we should celebrate that,
should.
Right? I think that we all should. We are all, I mean, in some ways, I am pro-progress, right? Does that make me a progressive, a conservative? I don't know what those labels are, but I'm pro-progress. And so, you know, I think that the fact that what I tell some people, you know, often friends on the left is, have we been hypocritical for most of our national history? Yes, we have. But our worst hypocrisies.
Hypocritical, you mean like all men are created equal?
Yeah, that we don't live up, and the point I was getting to is those hypocrisies are our best evidence that we have ideals at all, right? Nobody calls Iran a hypocrite.
That's a great point.
Nobody calls China a hypocrite. You can't call them a hypocrite because to be a hypocrite, you had to have the ideals in the first place. Right. So then now you have ideals. Now, are we a nation of gods or are we a nation of men? We're a nation of human beings, okay?
Right.
Human beings are by definition flawed. So if you have a nation built on ideals and it's comprised of human beings and not angels, then you will fall short of those ideals. It's just like definitionally what happens. No, but at least we have ideals.
Right.
That's what my
and also that we do improve.
Yeah.
That, you know, this is what's so annoying about, I've done many editorials about this, just like, again, just live in the year we're living in and stop like going after Columbus and like, yes, people were atrocious back then. He committed atrocities.
I mean, there are elements of Columbus that we ought to admire and still celebrate today.
We wouldn't be here. Well, I guess we would. Somebody would have found found it eventually. It's so big.
But it's the spirit of exploration, the spirit of being the unafraid, right? That's what we take on.
To have the balls to get into 3 little wooden ships that are probably the size of this room. And
to just go.
When you didn't know what was on the other side.
Well, you thought India was on the other side, is what you thought.
But it was a theory.
You had no idea. Yeah.
Everybody else said,
off.
They said, you will fall off the edge of the world. Mm-hmm. That's right. But, you know, the reason they did it was because, you know, before when the trade had to go through the Middle East, if you wanted to trade with China like Marco Polo, you had to go through the Middle East, and it's called the Middle because they were literally middlemen. Like all the trade went through.
Totally.
And Columbus basically said, I would rather fall off the edge of the world than have to deal with those people.
And the deserts and
getting my
the conditions
through one more day.
I mean, these guys were
Hey, thanks for watching the clip. Hit the subscribe button now so you never miss out on our Club Random content that's posted daily.